What's up guys, it's Troy with the Weber Kettle Club, and today we're going to make some fire roasted salsa. I'm not going to use any grates. I'm going to take all these tomatoes and onions, jalapenos, I'm going to cook them directly on the red hot charcoal. We're going to get a nice roasted smoky flavor to all of our vegetables. Then we're going to chop it up, we're going to make some salsa. So I'm going to start off with a mini chimney that's ashed over. This is the brand new Weber charcoal, testing it out. This is my second bag. So far I'm really liking it. What I'm going to do is just taking these very small load of charcoal here. I'm gonna take the mini chimney, and I just want my coals just kind of spaced out in an even layer, just so I can put all my vegetables and stuff in between them. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on the onions. The onions take considerably longer than the tomatoes and the jalapenos, so I'm putting the onions on first. I'm just gonna set them right there in the coals. 2 onions, I got 1 white, 1 yellow, mostly because I couldn't decide. Normally I do 1 white, 1 red, but they didn't have any red onions, so I'm doing 1 white and 1 sweet onion. I'm gonna put the lid on these onions and let these 2 onions roast for about 20 minutes or so, maybe 15, I don't know, I gotta check on them. We're gonna put 15 Roma tomatoes, 3 jalapenos, and a bundle of what was labeled as Mexican onions. Gotta be Mexican flavored, right? Once these onions are softened up, we're gonna come back and we're gonna put all of these other vegetables onto our charcoal. Oh man, that smell is incredible. The smell of roasting onions. Whoo! All right. I almost forgot, I have a head of garlic that I wanna put on there. And to put the garlic on there, to roast the garlic, what I did is I took a sheet of aluminum foil, folded it over onto itself, and I'm making basically a little vessel here to roast the garlic in. When garlic burns or when garlic overcooks, it becomes bitter, and I don't want it to become bitter. I just want it to roast and get a nice smoky, roasty flavor. So I'm being really careful. I don't want it to burn. So I'm just gonna nestle it up in between 2 pieces of charcoal there. That way it's gonna heat up, it's gonna cook, but it's got some buffer around it. While I'm in here, I'm just gonna rotate these onions over just to see how quickly they are cooking. It's a good idea to keep your onions moving around a little bit. They're gonna get black, they're gonna get blistered, they're gonna get burnt. Don't worry about it. It's all part of the flavor. Today I'm cooking on a vintage Aristocrat. This is a 26-inch red Weber charcoal grill from mid-70s. So this is pretty old, missing a bunch of porcelain, needs a name, needs a new owner, because unfortunately, I can't keep this grill. I just don't have enough room in my backyard. Plus, there's some other grills that I'd really like to get, and this one is gonna pave the way for that one. So if you're interested in a red Weber 26-inch grill, leave a comment down below and we can talk. A lot of times when I'm making fire roasted salsa, I'll use the spent coals from a previous cook, but for this video, I'm using fresh coals. So the coals are a little hotter than they normally would be with a spent load. So I'm gonna rotate the onions every 5 minutes or so. If you're using a spent load of charcoal from a previous cook, you can be a little less attentive to this type of cook, and you won't have to rotate the onions around so much. Now the onions are gonna take longer to cook than the rest of the stuff, which is why I put them on first. So onions are starting to get a little soft. I'm gonna give the onions about 5 or 10 more minutes before I go and put the tomatoes on. All right, so let's check on our onions. Our big red 26. Oh yeah, they look real nice. Take a walk around the grill, see if we can spot those things. Get these guys flipped over, moved around a little bit. Oh yeah, they're looking nice and blistered, starting to soften up real nice. Looking real good. Smells delicious. I'm gonna move some of these charcoal briquettes around a little bit just to knock off some of the ash. Get things fired up some more. Whoop. Hi, camera. All right, so next I'm gonna put on these Mexican onions. Actually, no, I'm gonna put on these 3 jalapenos first, because I wanted to get these nice and roasted. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna set those right on top of the coals. I'm gonna take these Mexican onions, Get this label cut off. Let's see what it says. Barbecue onions. Perfect. They're barbecue onions. You don't want to grill the rubber bands. Rubber bands I prefer to steam, not grill. Just gonna take these 3 onions, just gonna lay them right there with their greens draped over the other onions. I'm gonna go ahead and put these tomatoes on as well. Just gonna put them right on the coals. The skin's gonna get nice and toasty, it's gonna get charred up. I don't have enough room for all the onions or all the tomatoes, so I'm just gonna kind of set them along the outside just so they're touching the briquettes. Kind of setting them on the charcoal grate, leaning up into the charcoal. Once these tomatoes are on, you want to stay handy with your tongs. The tomatoes are going to cook pretty quickly. They're going to blister up. You don't need to let them roast too long because they're going to get really soft. I'm using Roma tomatoes because Romas have more meat to them and less inside filling and less water. I am going to scrape a lot of that water out once these are cooked because I don't want my salsa to be too runny. But Roma tomatoes I have found work the best. And once the tomatoes are on, I like to keep them moving. I like to keep moving at the beginning at least, just to make sure that they're not scorching. And like I said before, it really depends on how much heat you have in your charcoal. So they're going to split open, they're going to look blistered. It's getting some good flavor in there, don't worry. Oh yeah, look at that one, beautiful. It would have been a little beneficial to start with more charcoal in this situation. I don't have enough charcoal for all of my produce. This charcoal is not too hot. I was worried it was going to be way too hot, which is why I used very little charcoal. But this is actually pretty good. I'm happy with this. Just going to move these Mexican onions around a little bit. Want to make sure all of my jalapenos get some blackened skin. I want all of my produce to be roasted. I learned this recipe from Zavad44 in the Weber Kettle Club forums. He's the guy that makes all the Weber wooden handles for us, not for Weber, because Weber doesn't do it anymore. I don't know why. I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid on this and let these vegetables continue roasting, at least for a while. Whoop, got tomatoes rolling around. All right, so as our tomatoes become nice and soft and the skin's starting to peel off, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna find the soft ones first. There's a nice soft one. I'm just gonna put them in this bowl so these soft tomatoes can cool down. I don't wanna cut into them when they're hot like this because it's gonna hurt. Oh yeah, nice, that's beautiful. I'm not so much worried about the ash and the stuff like that. It's all gonna make nice flavor, nice roasted flavor. Get our jalapenos off there. Oh yeah, jalapenos look real good. Some of our tomatoes are still a little firm, while other ones are completely overcooked. That's fine. Our onions are done as well. Now that I have some room, I've taken a peach and I've halved the peach. I'm gonna set the peach down in there on the coals as well. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split my salsa in 2 parts and put all the peppers in one half for me and put the peaches in the other half for the family who doesn't like spicy stuff whatsoever. Our garlic is not roasted yet. I'm gonna let that roast more. It's not soft yet. I'm gonna let these tomatoes cool down for about 5 or 10 minutes and then we're gonna get the food processor out. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with these tomatoes is I'm just gonna put them on the cutting board. I'm gonna split them in half with my knife and kind of scrape out the inside meat. The Roma tomatoes have like a spine where they're covered with seeds and juice, but I just want the outside meat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put them on the board. Just gonna kind of cut off the end with the seed. Put that in my trash bowl. Turn it lengthwise, split it open, lay it down. So right there, I don't want that middle section in my salsa because it's just too liquidy. So I'm just gonna go ahead, come in with a knife like that, scoop it out. So right there, that right there is half of the tomato that I want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rough cut it. and put it in the food processor. Do the same with the other half. I'll do all these tomatoes. I'm gonna take these peaches off before they get too roasted up. Ooh, doggy. Put these peaches on the cutting board, let these cool down. All right, let me get these tomatoes all cut up and put it in the food processor. I'm only gonna do about 10 of the tomatoes into the food processor. I'm gonna save 5 to use as my balancing ingredient. If my salsa is too spicy, I can use some of these leftover tomatoes to kind of sweeten it back up or bring it back into reality. The reason I'm separating the middle out is I don't want all of this liquid in my salsa. Otherwise, it's just gonna be too runny. So for the Mexican onions, I'm just gonna give them a squeeze. It's gonna pop all that burnt skin off. I'm gonna throw the burnt shit away and just kind of roughly chop what's left and throw it into the food processor. That's a slippery little guy. For the jalapenos, what I'm going to do is the same thing. I'm going to cut off the stem, throw the stem away, throw the stem away again. I'm going to split the pepper open lengthwise, put it down skin side on the cutting board, and just take my knife and just scrape all the seeds out. And then I'll turn the pepper back over and give it some rough chop. And I realize I'm holding the knife wrong. I've been seeing a lot of comments lately on YouTube videos, people bitching and complaining about YouTubers who aren't holding the knife properly. Get over yourself. If you can't watch a video because the person isn't holding the knife properly, you're taking yourself far too seriously. So for the onion, I'm just going to cut off both ends and get this outside peeled roughly with the knife. Bam. Throw our trash away. Get our onion cut up roughly. It's still a little firm in the middle, but man, it smells amazing. I'm gonna put that in the food processor. Boom. I'm gonna pulse our food processor just to get all of this stuff kind of roughly chopped and blended up in there. Oh yeah, it's looking nice. It's got a nice fiery, smoky smell to it. It's got a nice saucy, picante texture in there right now. I don't want to make it all smooth. I want it to be chunky. So I'm going to add the rest of the stuff and just kind of stir it in. The rest of the stuff will be my own chopping. The food processor just makes it easy to cheat. Gotta get rid of our trash. Trash bowl is always super handy. Learned this trick from Rachel Ray, I believe, years ago. One last thing, I got some cilantro. I got a bundle of cilantro. What I want to do with the cilantro, so I'm just going to group whatever charcoals I have left here, which isn't much. Just got a nice little pile. I'm just going to set the cilantro down on top of it and watch. Watch slowly, it starts to wilt. The whole bundle starts to collapse on itself. As those bottom leaves wilt and get a little black, it starts to smoke. At that point, you just want to take the bundle, pick it up, flip it over. Watch it again. Watch everything kind of fall on itself, kind of wilts. And that's it. That's all you want to do with the cilantro. Cilantro is a quick and easy grill. If you leave it on there, it's going to disappear. So you got to be careful. So right now I'm going to go ahead and split my my salsa into 2 parts. I still have 4 tomatoes, 2 jalapenos, and a couple Mexican onions left to add, but I want to get the salsa split so I can only add the peppers to 1. I want to do a taste test of my salsa, which right now is all tomato, just to make sure we got a good flavor going on. All right, so we need some seasoning. Got some kosher salt. I'm going to do 3 really heavy pinches of kosher salt and some black pepper. Lots of black pepper. And I got a lime. I'm going to take this lime. I'm going to add juice from 1 whole lime. That's a lot of lime juice, probably too much. If you like your salsa less runny, you're going to have to do a better job of taking those tomato juices out or use less lime. Now for our cilantro, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of fold all these burnty leafy ends onto themselves and just rough chop down to about where the label is on the bundle of cilantro. I don't want to get too much of the stemmy stuff in there. I just want the leaves. Get it all nice and rough chopped. I'm going to go ahead and plop that in there. All right, so this is not spicy at all right now. At all. At all. Which is a shame, but it's okay because I have 2 peppers left to add. All right, this is starting to smell delicious. All right, so let me get a taste of this. This also tastes amazing. It's got a little bit of heat, but not much. So I'm going to split this in half, add the rest of the jalapenos to 1 and the peaches to the other. But I need to get rid of some junk here. So let's get cleaned up. All right, I know it's not clean, but it's good enough. So I'm gonna split this salsa in 2 using this bowl. Oh, that sounds healthy. All right, so that looks like 2 equal parts, close enough. So I'm gonna take my peaches. This is gonna be the non-spicy one. I'm gonna take our peaches and I'm just gonna cube these peaches. Gonna leave the skin on. Peaches are too delicate for me to be trying to remove the skin. Just gonna put those peaches in there with the skin and all. It helps to go skin side up for easier chopping, which I didn't do on the first one because I wanted to show you the difference. Yeah, that's it. And with this jalapeno, I'm just going to chop it up. I quartered it up and then I chopped it. I want to make my salsa a little spicier. All right, holy shit. They're both tasting really good. I don't really see a need to add the last 4 tomatoes that I saved, but I'm gonna just split them up and add them anyway. And I'm gonna take out all the juice just because the salsa is tasting incredible already. Okay, our 2 salsas are done. I got a spicy one and a not so spicy peach one. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the fridge, let them chill, and then I'm gonna grill some carne asada in my next video. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and get grilling.